first let us understand what is web table. So let us split both the words, web table. So what it means by that, whenever you see any table format in a website or in web, that is called as the web table. So anything which has a table tag is called as a web table in our website. Both the headers and the body will contain the same tags, which is called as tr and td. I'm just gonna write a locator for that. So how to write that? It's pretty simple. Just write it as expect and await. All of this comes from the non-hidden rows. No confusion in that. Hello everyone, welcome to LambdaTest. This is another very interesting video which comes under the playlist Playwright with TypeScript. So as part of this video, we are going to learn in detail about what is web table and how to handle the web table. So let us see quickly the agenda of this video. So as I mentioned earlier, we will have a quick introduction about what is web table and how to handle the web table by using Playwright. First, let us understand what is web table. So let me go to the demo website, and the demo website I have taken here today is LambdaTest.com Selenium Playground /table -search filter demo. Do not worry, I'm anyway going to push all these codes into the GitHub repository so you can find the codes from there. So first let us understand what is web table. So let us split both the words, web table. So what it means by that, whenever you see any table format in a website or in web, that is called as the web table. Now in this website here you can see this particular thing, it's been mentioned in the table format. You can ask me, Vignesh, how can you say that this is a table format? If you can notice here, all of them has been assigned in terms of rows and columns, which means you can see hash, which is for numbers, task, which is for the tasks, assignee, status, all of them are split into row and column wise. This is called as a web table. Now, as I always say, do not just believe by seeing the display what it shows in the web. Always go into the DOM and verify them. Now if I open the DOM for this table, let me open the DOM and let me inspect this table. So let me inspect the table, and here if I mouse over, you can see if I click on this element, the entire table is been highlighting, and here you can clearly see it has a tag called table. So anything which has a table tag is called as a web table in our website. And here first let us understand how this table is been getting split into. So here you can see the table has multiple arguments underneath. So let us go one by one. So the first tag is called as thead, and the second tag is called as the tbody. So when I mouse over to thead, you can see it is highlighting the header. So in this case, the headers are hash, task, assignee, status, and everything. Versus the next one is tbody. So basically for tbody, it covers everything apart from the headers. So this is the basic split which you see in all the tables, but it's not always mandatory that it should have a head, but most of the tables will have the header, whichever wanted to highlight as a header part. Both the headers and the body will contain the same tags, which is called as tr and td. What is tr and td, Vignesh? Tr, which means as table row. So here you can see it has multiple trs. As I move through one tr, you can see above it changes. If I expand one tr, you can see it has multiple td. Now if you're learning the table for the first time, you will get one question, Vignesh, why can't I see something called column? Because in Excel or whatever the tool which we use, always it will be splitted as rows and columns. Here I can see rows by using tr, but why can't I see something called tc or something like that for column? So the answer is there is no something called as column in web table. Instead, it has been splitted into rows versus td. So here, as I mentioned already, tr, which means as table row, and each td it's called as the table data. So here you can see all the data here. For example, one development, Aku Sophie completed, all of them are presented in the first row. Now then, how can we know how many columns are there? There is no direct way to find the columns. The usual hack or the way which we use to identify how many columns are present, if we have a header, we'll go into the header. Usually the header will have only one row, and we will see how many th is present over there. So based on the number of th, it means number of columns are there. This is way one. Or the way two is, you can go to the tbody, and within the tbody you can go into any tr, and you can count how many tds you can find it. So the number of tds means number of columns. So based on number of columns only, the number of tds will be assigned. So these are the basics of web table. Now let us see what is the agenda which we are going to do as part of this video. So here you can see we have a table, and we also have a filter here. So what is the first thing which I'm going to do is, I'm going to inspect this table, and I'm going to check whether it has the number of rows and the number of columns which I'm looking for. So here you can see it has 7 rows and it has 4 columns. So the first test block which I'm going to write is to test whether it has 4 4 columns and 7 rows. That is task number 1. And for the second test, what I'm going to do, I'm going to search here in the search bar, and I'm going to see if I'm getting only one result or 2 results. And I'm going to search with all the combinations. I'm going to search with task, I'm going to search with assignee, I'm going to search with status. So for instance, if I'm searching with the task as testing, so here you can see it is giving me only one output. And also I'll be doing an assertion that the task td is containing the value which I'm searching for. Similarly, I'm going to search one with, let's say, failed, for example, as status. So if I search with failed, here in this particular website, it is giving me 2 results. So I'm going to do an assertion if it contains 2 results. So these are the different types of tests which we are going to write as part of this video. I have already created a project here called as web table handling. And here in this project, I have already installed Playwright, and also I have given the integration with LambdaTest. If you don't know how to install Playwright or to give the integration with LambdaTest, please watch my previous videos where I have clearly explained how to do this installation and how to do the integration. So here I have created a spec file called as webtablehandling.spec.ts, and here I have 2 test blocks as I mentioned. One is to handling the web table, and second one is to filtering by task, assignee and status. So first let us do handling by web table. So here I have written the same code what I'm writing in all the previous videos, which is the first line is to go to the website, and the second from second lines are to handle the consent pop-up block. So these are the standard lines which I'm writing as part of all the videos. So what is the first thing which you're going to do is, first I'm going to create a constant called as const table. And within this const table, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write page.locator. So within this page.locator, I'm going to feed the locator of the entire table, not specific to any row or column. It's for the entire table. So here this is the table data, and here you can see it has an ID which is called as task table. So I'm going to copy this task table, and I'm going to write hash task table. Here it gives 1 of 2, so which means there is one more duplicate of that. So let me see, here it has the table tag. For the next one, it has an input tag. So we are interested with the table tag, right? So let me write as table hash table task. Yeah, so I can see 1 of 1. So this is my table locator. Now, why am I writing is at a separate constants? Because all my tbody, tr, thead, everything has the parent as table, which is this table hash task table. Instead of writing this again and again, I just wrote it once. So wherever I needed, I can just call it as table dot. So first what I'm going to do, I'm going to find how many total number of rows and columns are available. So first I will say how many total rows are available. Then I'll find how many total columns are available, and we'll do a small assertion to check if it has the same number of rows and columns what we expect for. So to find the number of rows, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to create a const rows, and here I already know that from table I have to go to the body, from body I have to go to the tr, just tr, so that we can find number of rows. So table, this is the constant which we have created, dot locator. And what am I going to add? I'm just going to add tbody space tr. Now, if you are writing it for the first time, or if you are new to the web table, so what am I doing is, I have already written for this table, and here I'm going to put a space followed by tbody space tr. So here you can see it is giving me the output of 1 of 7, And if I move here, you can see it is moving to all the corresponding rows, which means this is a valid locator. So that's the same thing which I have written here. And similarly, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write for total number of columns. So const columns, which is equal to table.locator. Again, I'm using the same table. As I mentioned earlier, you have two ways to do. Either you can go to the header. From the header, you can go to the number of th. That's option number 1. Or you can go to the tbody and you can go to the first tr and you can go to the th. That's the second way. So I'm just going to go with the first way. If you want it, you can try with the second way also. So here within this, I'm going to go with tr and th. So what it means by that? So here, if I'm removing this tbody and typing tr space th. So here you can see it is giving me 1 of 4, which means it will go to the first tr, and within the first tr it will go to all the th, and here you can see the count to be 4. That's the same locator which I have written here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write a simple assertion. So expect, what I'm going to expect for, I'm going to expect this await rows dot count. I'm going to get the count of it, and I'm going to do a simple assertion to equal, and what is the value which we know? We know the number of rows are 7. So I'm going to do an assertion for 7. Similarly, I'm going to duplicate this line and I'm going to call columns dot count, and we know the column count is 4. As simple as that. So this is a simple test for us to get practice with how to work with tables and how to identify the rows and columns. I will run both the tests together to make sure both of them are running. So this is the first test. And what is the second test which we are going to do? The second test is, as I mentioned earlier, in the same table we are going to do some searching, and we are going to write the assertion to make sure the number of rows and columns are coming, or the total count is coming as we expected. So what are we going to do is, the code whatever we wrote so far will be remaining the same, because the number of rows and number of columns will be remaining the same. So I'm just copying this code until this. Yeah, I just need this code. I no more need this block. So here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paste it. Here I'm going to remove the assertion because my intention is not to do the assertion for rows and columns. Similarly, I'm going to remove the commented codes too. So I have the table, I have the rows, and I have the columns. So now what is the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to filter by, let's say task, because that's the first thing. So to filter by task, what I have to do, I have to enter something here in the search bar. So let me inspect this, and here you can see it has an ID with input tag. So let me quickly write a locator input hash this. So input hash this, you can see it is giving us 1 of 1. So this is the locator which I'm going to use. So await page dot locator, and this is the locator which I'm gonna enter into, and I'm gonna fill some values, because to enter into a text box we usually use the fill method. So within that I'm gonna fill. So this is task, right? So let's say I'm taking a random task, for example, let's say content. So I'm gonna search with content. So when I search with content, you can see the output is only 1. So I'm gonna search with content. Now you're gonna notice one super interesting thing. When I search with content, and if I directly take the number of rows, we will be in an assumption that Vignesh, the rows count should be 1. Previously it was 7, but now the rows count will be 1. But that's not the case in most of the tables. Why, Vignesh? Let me show you here. So I'm gonna put the same locators whatever we wrote for the previous test. So this is the parent locator followed by tbody followed by tr. We are in an assumption that it should give the output to be 1, because here you can see only one search result, but here you can see it is giving 1 of 7. You will be getting confused, Vignesh, why it's giving 1 of 7? Because it is not removing any other row, but it's just highlighting only one row which matches with the text. If I show all of the remaining rows, you can see a new style or a new CSS got added, which is style display, which is none, which means which all the rows which is not matching for this condition, automatically this website adds a style display equal to none. So due to which we are not seeing it with our naked eyes, but it's actually present in the DOM. So any commands you put, it will actually interact with the DOM. So if you write an assertion expecting the value to be 1, the test will fail saying that, hey, I'm having 7 rows. Now, how to automate this? Now, if you notice, if I remove this content, all this, whatever the style, none, you can see it is getting removed. Similarly, if I'm typing something else, for example, let's say I'm typing Aku Sophie, you can see again for the remaining rows, this display none is getting added. So what is my agenda here? I have to find this table tbody tr. Also, I need to find it which all the rows which are not having this tbody, the tr without the content, which is style display none. So how to do that? It's pretty simple. You can just simply write it as like this. So let me zoom in. What is the code which I have wrote? So you all know how to write until this tr, which we have just learned. You can write, this is a css syntax. You can write colon not, and you can put up normal brackets, and within that you can put up an array, and what you are putting in that array is style star, which means any style equal to display none. So I'm not expecting the trs which should have this. So as I wrote this locator, you can see it is giving me 1 of 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write one more new const here as const non hidden rows, which means I want to take all the non-hidden rows. So I'm just going to use the same table locator followed by, so I'm going to leave this table locator and I'm going to use this tbody none whatever which is copied off. That's it. So after we finished searching, there is one small glitch in this website. What it happens is that after you directly fill it, it's not showing you the suggestion. It is expecting you to do some enter or something like that. So what I'm going to do, after filling the content, I'm just going to use press, and within this I'm going to pass some enter key. We have already seen in our previous video how to use the press method and what are all the values it accepts. So please see the video if you're not understanding what this command is. So here I'm going to fill it with content and I'm going to press the enter. Once I did this, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do 2 assertions. So what are those 2 assertions, Vignesh? So await page.locator. So instead of page.locator, what I can do, I already have this non-hidden rows, right? So I'm just going to say await non-hidden rows dot count. I'm going to get the count and I'm going to check to equal 1. Why? Because I know if I search with the keyword content, I'm going to get only the value to be 1. This is first thing. And second, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one more level of assertion, which is I'm going to find, let me type content back, content, and here you can see this content is coming under the task column. So here if I leave all the rows which are having display none, this is the guy which is not having that. So if I expand it, you can see this content is coming on the second td. So I can go and add the advanced level of assertion, which is that, hey, in this particular row, check if the second td has the text called content. So this is an additional advanced assertion which you can write to make sure that you're not just searching for that, but also you're making sure that whatever you're searching for has the same content in the td. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna write a locator for that. So how to write that? It's pretty simple. Just write it as expect and await. All of this comes from the non-hidden rows. No confusion in that. So I'm going to use non-hidden rows locator. What I'm going to do, I know this comes under the second td. So I'm going to say td colon nth child of 2. So this nth child of 2, which will take and give us the response of the second td. So if I copy this and go back to the DOM, and if I put this, I'll put with the space, you can see it is giving 1 of 1 and it is highlighting the content. So we basically want the text out of it. So after we are done with all the locator, we are going to just use text content. Why we need the text content? In order to get the text out from it. So non-hidden rows will take me and give me the row which is not hidden. From there I'm adding the chaining of locators and I'm passing to get the second column, and I'm getting the text out from it, and I'm gonna say to equal, and what it should be equal to, it should be equal to the exact thing which we type. In this case, it's content. That's it. So this is how we can search with filtering or filtering by task. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it below because the codes are exactly the same with different types of filtering. So let me search for the next filter. So in this case, let's say I'm filtering by assignee. For example, let's say I'm filtering by Halima Verknish. So from the code's perspective, everything is same, only two small tweakings which you need to do. So await page.locator. So here the locator is not going to change. The content is going to change. Instead of content, it's going to be Halima Verknish. And here await page.locator, we have to click on enter button. And once we finished on clicking on enter button, so let me search it here. You can see again it gives me only one response. So here I'm going to do an assertion that the row should be only one. And here this time I should not check for the second column. Instead I should check for the third column. Why, Vignesh? Because the first column is numbering, second column is task, and third column is the assignee. So this Halima Verknish comes under the third column. So I should be doing for the third column. So instead of 2, I'm just going to put 3. And here again I'm going to change the content to be Halima Verknish. That's it. Now, as we are running all of the same tests in the same tab, so how it does it, first it search for content and then it will search for Halima Verknish. But ideally we can do this way, but what I always personally suggest is whenever you are typing on a text box which is already pre-filled with some values, always it's a good practice to clear it out. So I'm just gonna call the locator and I'm gonna clear the content. So this will basically clear whatever it's been entered before, and then it will enter with the new values. Again, fill will do this, but clearing it out, it's one more level of safety so that we don't enter some junk values in our fill. So this is filter by task, and for the last one we will filter by, let's say, status, for instance. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paste this code and I'm going to say filter by status. So when I filter by status, for instance, let's say I'm filtering with failed, as I mentioned earlier. So here when I filter with failed, you can see it has two responses. One is failed and failed QA. So now you can't directly do an assertion to get the status of it because it will give you two responses. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this assertion. Instead, I'm just going to check if the count is to be 2. That's it. So here this time I'm going to search with failed and I'm going to check if I'm getting two responses. If you wanted still to go and get the values of this as failed and failed QA, what you have to do is you have to go with non-hidden rows. You have to go to dot nth of 1 and dot count. You can do that way, or you can simply do an assertion to check if the value of the count is equal to 2. That's it. We have finished writing all the different types of assertions which we can do and different types of filtering which we can do by using the Playwright web table. Now, before I'm executing this test, I wanted to show you one more thing. Let me close this down. In the same website, you can see there is one more table. Here, it also has filters, but not direct filters, which means here in the above example, it's a single filter. So whatever the values you search for example, if I search for testing, it's going to search across all the columns. Whereas in the below table, when I click on this filter button, it will enable the filter for all the columns, but whatever I type here will reflect only in that particular column. What it means by that, for example, when I type Dan, you can see it is finding only in this particular column, not in the other column. Automating this versus the previous table automation has no difference. Everything is exactly the same code. The only difference is you have to write an additional step of clicking on this filter button, and whichever the value you wanted to search for example, if you wanted to search for username field, you have to click on the username field and search for it, and if you have to search for the first name field, you have to search in the first name field. That's it. That's the only small tweaking which you have to do. Rest all the approach remains the same. So maybe you can take this as a practice and see if this is working. So now I'm gonna run this test. So everything is fine here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go to the end table, and here it's already pointing to LambdaTest. So here I'm just gonna run the test npm run win11 chrome. Again, here I'm just running it with a sample Windows 11 Chrome, but we have already written in detail in our previous video how to work with different browsers and different OSs in LambdaTest. Please, if you are not sure how to do that, watch the previous video. So here, if I wanted to run it with, for instance, let's say Win10 Chrome, I can simply run it by changing here as Win10 colon Chrome. If I wanted to run it with Mac Chrome, I can just pass it as Mac Chrome. So it's our use case only. So I'm just going to go with Win10 Chrome for this example, but no major changes in terms of the execution. So I'm going to click on enter. So this particular two test blocks will be executing against the Windows 10 and Chrome. So let us wait until the test execution starts. So let me go to the LambdaTest dashboard. So this is the LambdaTest dashboard. These are the builds which have been executed as part of the previous video. So now I should see a new build should be executed now. So you can see it is executing against the project Chrome latest Windows 10 Lambda test, which means it's going to execute both of the tests against Windows 10 and in Chrome browser. So let us wait until it starts the test. So I should be seeing running two tests with two workers technically. So yeah, you can see it is showing me running two tests using two workers, which means now the test should have been started in the LambdaTest server. So let us wait until it reflects over here. It might take a second, or let me refresh the screen to get yeah, we already got the value, but I accidentally clicked on refresh, which is fine. So now you can see it is running both the builds, which is one is for the handling web table and one is for the filtering table by task, assignee and status. Ideally both the tests should be passing because we have added proper assertions for all those tests which we wrote. So ideally both the tests should be passing. So once the test completes, I can open and show you the video how the execution happened. So let us wait until the execution completes. It might take a minute or so, depends on how fast is your internet. So once the execution is completed, we'll be showing you both the builds video to show you that, for example, in the filtering table by task assignee, it should search for the testing, and then it should content, and it should remove that, and it should search for the next one, Halima Verknesh, and it should remove, and it should search with failed. You should do all the three operations. You can see both the tests are passed. So let me open both the test videos. So I'm opening the first one, which is basically the filtering by different tags and values. So we have already seen the status as passed. And here in the left side, we'll be seeing all the builds. So you can see it executed on the latest version of Chrome with the Windows 10 as we asked for. So here we have all the commands which got executed will be displayed here. So process started and all the steps happened one by one. So we will directly view the video to make sure if everything is working fine. So yeah, it's loading the video. Let me play that and let me maximize the screen. The execution is super fast in Playwright, but let me try to pause the video as much as possible. Yeah, no, I couldn't able to. Let me try to pause once again. So here you can see first it searches with content. Let me try to pause again. Yeah, you can see first it tried to search with content, then it was searching with Halima, and last it was searching with failed. So all the steps which we asked for has been done successfully. And then the second also is the same, where it will just do an assertion after the page loads whether the number of columns is 4 and the number of rows are 7. So I hope this video was very insightful for you, and in this video we have learned in clear on what is web table and how to handle the web table by using the Playwright. Thanks for watching the video. If you are interested, please watch the further videos being added as part of this Playwright series. Thank you.